been about it. Glory to the Father, I don't do the people. I went vegan for the weekend, now I'm back to beef and broccoli. Sipping sake, practice wabi sabi. I don't need a thotty. My girl got that body yachty. When we walk inside the party, they like, OMG, know it's been a man. Tell me where you been, huh? Been about it. Hey, back about me, man, it's getting crowded. Hey, when I'm in Cali, got it in and out it. Lot of goofies in the spot, so I'm dipping at it. Adios. In the gym, getting valid. At the party, won't bother anybody. Always kept it solid. You know I always kept it solid.
Guess who's back?
Hey.
Back again.
Hey.
Seeing Will's back.
Hey.
Tell a friend.
Tell a friend.
We are back for part 2 of what you really want from a spouse.
Can I say it? You didn't even let me say it. I wasn't fast enough, my man.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the part 1. If you haven't checked that out, go check out part 1. And then we're going to start part 2 right now. Please continue to engage, comment, hit us on the email everywhere at Pleasant Love, even at the gmail.com at A Pleasant Love. We thank y'all, and we'll catch you at the end. Bye.
Hey, and that's another thing, ladies. Ooh, come on, God. You tell that man. Don't be afraid. If he afraid of you telling him what you desire and what you want, then he ain't the one for you.
Right.
He's just not. And I remember telling Will, because that was on my list. I remember telling Will, I said, as we develop, I said, I'm always gonna be this loving person, this adventurous person. I don't want you to lose that, because then we become boring.
Right.
And I said, when I notice that happening, I'm gonna let you know immediately, because for me, that's showing me that that this relationship is not staying exciting. It's not staying, what's the word I'm trying to say? It's not changing. It's not growing. And we had a season where you just shut down. And I was just like, bruh.
That was definitely part of my depression.
Yeah.
Depression too. So.
And when I realized that, and that's another thing, when I realized that I had to change gears and how I approach you or approach things, and I had to be more, so our relationship goes like this, kind of, sort of. In the beginning, I was the one like, let's do this, let's do that. Then once we became a boyfriend and girlfriend, Will was like, let's go do this, let's go do that, let's go do this, da da da. And it was like, and then as the years went by, it was like we would do it for one another. Yeah. And then when we got married, it just sizzled. It was just like, we'll go if we go, we do what we do. Yeah. And because of work and life changes and life situations, we had to find a new way of communicating. But then when I noticed that Will was becoming depressed and he was pulling away more and more. And I was like, that is not what I want. I was like, my mom was like, I told my mom that's not what I wanted. I did not want a man to do that, Mom. Yeah. And she was like, but that's not William. Something's going on. That's not the Will we know. And I was like, but is it the Will that I did not know because I married? Like, was he hiding the whole time and I now it's appearing because we married? Ooh. And my mom was like, and my cousin, thank God for both of them, they were like, no, something else is going on. He just changed schools. No, you didn't change schools. You were changing your career. Yeah. And thank God for sound people in my life, my inner circle. Hallelujah. Because they were like, Sierra, maybe you can do something a little bit different because it's not always about you. And I was like, you're right, because we married. And so I had to change a little bit of how I spoke to you, how I interacted with you to make it more of a positive experience for you. Right. Because in a marriage, it's not always about me. It's about us and how we're growing together. And if you are falling off or if you are having some problems that I can't see, I thank God for an inner circle who can show me, my husband, sometime and say, take a look back. step out of you, Sierra, for a second and look at what he's actually going through.
Right.
And I thank God for my mom and my cousin who reminded me at that time of
Right.
that, because then I had to be more supportive versus more reactive.
Right.
And so I try to find ways to be more here for you, more present for
Right.
you.
And you
I was
did.
like, can I help you with this? Do you
Yeah.
need a little space from that? And he was like, well, I just wanna. I remember he was like, I just want to go to my room and just lay down and have some peace. And I was like. And I was angry because I was like, that's not William. Like, that's like, I was like, and then when I was like, is that what he, I was like, Sierra,
That's what I want.
that's what you want right now. So I was like, all right, it's not going to be too long. And I just prayed. I talked to my mom. I talked to my cousin. And I let him have that time,
Right.
that reboot time. And when he came out, you know, he was good. You know, when he got his little, you know, he figured out his emotions or he just relaxed his mind, because
Right.
his mind was like on a 200 speed. And when he relaxed his mind, he was able to really, really be present with
Right.
me. And so during that season, I now that I'm thinking about it, that season actually prepared us for now.
Right.
I just realized that.
Yeah. We just have to, and it's most everyone has to realize when you even start, like I said, community relationship, and then ongoing into the marriage, you have to keep that open communication of what you want.
Right.
Now, we can't be 100% selfish in that, because you know there gotta be some kind of compromise. Like
Right.
if I can't be like, oh, I'm gonna stay in my room for 6 months. I'll see you when I see you. No, there gotta be a little compromise. All right, I'll give you this one day. I might give you 2. But we're eventually going to have to get out that room, and we're going to have to give it to God, talk to God. We're going to do whatever we have to do to make sure. So that constant, and what we didn't make the term up, but our constant check-ins.
Oh, check-ins.
Every
yeah.
anniversary.
Yep.
What's going on? What's this year?
6 months.
What goals do you want?
Every 6 months. Because our anniversary is on New Year's Day, every 6 months we have a check-in. Like a big check-in. Not like a, you all right? Am I pleasing you? No. It's like a full-on like meeting almost. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's healthy for me and William.
Yes.
I established that when we were dating.
Yes.
Because I was like, if you need to go explore, please let me know.
Yes. So love we get.
But now we're married,
And that's
so
where
we don't
lots-
have that kind of
yeah.
conversation now. It's more of like, where are we going? Or what do we need to change? Like, what do we need to adapt? Like, what do we need to modify? Yeah.
And that's how you get stagnant, because you was like, oh yeah, 10 years ago you wanted it. It was 10 years ago. You can't do that. You have to make it plain, because unless your spouse has psychic abilities, you don't know what she wants. you got it. Sometimes you even have to write it down. Revelation 1:19 says, "Now I want you to write what you have seen, what is, and what comes after the things that I reveal to you." And then also you got to turn. So in this case, you also got to turn to God.
Mm-hmm.
Turn to God.
Mm-hmm.
I want this. Now, Lord, is this something? Am I doing this for you? Am I doing this for the betterment of our marriage? Let's make sure before I come to Sierra with this desire that I want, make sure that is right. Because you can't. Because like I said, we could go a little crazy. That's when midlife crisis happens. You riding motorcycles, staying all night at the strip club. Like sometimes you gotta take it to God too. What you want, we gotta be very careful in that case.
And I think also now before you're married, it's really about you understanding what you desire, what you want, and then what you need. You, like me, I discovered what I actually needed in a husband as I married.
Right.
And I, for me, God has worked it out. I thought I knew what I needed when I got married, but it changed in the season. It changed.
Yes.
And let's go to the word real quick. Beloved ones, don't remain as immature children in your reasoning.
Right.
As it relates to evil, be like newborns, but in your thinking, be mature adults.
Yes.
1 Corinthians 14:20. And that speaks to me like volumes.
Right.
Like in just our progression of our marriage, I go into my little immature ways of thinking of it's just about me and he should be pleasing me. And then I go, but no. If you in a relationship with yourself, that's the case.
Yes.
But that's not a relationship you in. You in a marriage. It can't just be about you.
Right.
And so I have to always ask God, if I'm getting more mad it's one thing to be frustrated.
Right.
But if I'm becoming mad and angry about whatever it is, towards William, I have learned over the past couple of years to check in with God on what I need to be looking at. Right. Is it really him or is it really me? And majority of the time, it is me, because I'm either not doing something correct, or I'm not articulating or communicating what I actually desire or what I actually want to happen. And I noticed that we have a lot of little spats, because I'll say one thing and I'm like, and you're like, I'm like, no, that's not what I mean. And it's like, well, then what are you trying to say then? It's like, well, I'm saying this. Why did you ain't say it in the first place? I know a lot of married couples or couples in general have that conversation. Like, why didn't you say it in the first place? Well, I thought you was gonna get it. And like we'll say, I'm not a psychic reader. No, I can't read your brain. Right. And so I have to also turn to God and be like, okay, God, I'm getting upset. I'm becoming, because I can get there. I was like, I need you to show me, like, what is it that I need to show him to help the situation, or show me what I need to do for myself. Right. Because as I've been married, I've been learning, I'm learning, I should say, not learned, because I'm still progressing. I'm learning that I have to not rely on who I am as a person includes the equation of my husband. Right. Like, I'm how can I say this? I'm the least organized in in the house than William. We'll throw everything away. I'm like, no, we can use that later. No, keep that. We can use that later. He's like, no.
You got 10 of these.
Just throw it away, Sierra. And I'm just like, no. We don't need it for a project or something. He's like, Sierra, let it go. Just let it go. If I have an art project, you never. Anywho, see, that's a conversation right now. Anywho,
but you're at 10 of them.
So that's another thing. So for me, it's just like, well, some women would think, well, since I'm not, and men, let me say it that way. Well, I'm not the organized one, so I'll just let him do all the organized stuff. And so you just give it up because you have that partner, right? But are you giving it up and not working on it for yourself?
Right.
Are you just depending on your spouse to be the organized one all the time and do all the finances all the time so that you don't have to worry about it? There should be a balance. There should be a balance within yourself. There also should be a balance within the relationship. To put the complete burden of a part of your identity or form of your characteristic onto your spouse is immature. Yeah. Because you're not taking responsibility for who you are as a person. And I had to learn that. Yeah. I will say, our weight loss journey, for a good year 7, I was mad at William the whole time. Because I'm like, you got me eating all this crap. And I'm supposed to be, he didn't know it. Unbeknownst to him, this is his first time hearing about it. Yeah. But I was mad. Because I'm like, this dude used to eat salads. Man, we both was thick, but William ate more salads than me in college, okay? Let me tell you. He didn't know how to cook a vegetable very well, but he knew how to get a salad real quick. Yeah, I knew how to make salads. I'm like, why are we here? Like, we should not be. And so, but I had to act, God had to show me, boo-boo, you been eating. Every time he cook, you the one been putting it in your mouth.
Eat half of it, or don't eat.
Or don't eat. Like, you are still a child of God. You are my child. You is not his child. What do you need to do? And I think in a marriage or a dating relationship, you always need to ask yourself, especially if it's something like that. Of course, if it's abuse or something like that, that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. Right. But if it's something where it's irritating you to the soul, so if you're just like, oh. Ask yourself, ask God, show me, is it something that I need to do to better me so that I can have a better relationship? Because if putting it always on your spouse is not the healthiest thing to do. And it's more about really you. Like, that's why, what do you want? Like, what do you want? Ask the question, of yourself.
That definitely causes burn. Thank you for bringing that up, because I thought of that. Like, that does bring up some burnout. That does bring up some frustration. I'm glad you told me that, because there was many times where we would have, and I'm like, just don't eat it or eat half of it. And then I'd be like, okay, you can eat that tomorrow. Like you pack it for lunch, and eat the rest. So like, it's just frustrated about. But I realized that I was, and we both were doing it. We were feeding our weaknesses. Even though it's easier said than done, that was our addiction. Food was our addiction. And someone made this joke like it started when you're younger because remember they were saying always clean your plate. Don't leave any food on the plate. Yeah. Like why can't I just put this in a Tupperware and eat it tomorrow? So you had that mentality. Yeah. But yeah, that was we have to make sure, like you said, balance each other because sometimes, unbeknownst to Sierra, with the whole salad thing.
Here you go.
When you're doing it so much for someone else and you don't feel that appreciation, you're just like, all right, okay, whatever. We'll just eat, fat ribs and some mashed potatoes and call it a night because I don't even care no more.
Whatever. Now he's making excuses for the past. But this is the thing. I always thought you was gonna tap into was when you realize, even though that you were still cooking, dinner or whatever, what have you, you did realize that the choices that you were making individually for our eating was still not the healthiest and was not the best. No. And you had to take out the time to really understand, and he was so frustrated. I was like, we can't have mashed potatoes, but we can have mashed cauliflower. I said, okay, let's go buy the one from the stove. Try it out. And can you try that? Okay, I'll try it. That's not bad. It's not bad. I said, okay. So then let's try to make it at home. And sometimes he would make it. Sometimes he got really good at cauliflower stir-fried rice. High five on top of that. He does that really, really well. So and see, that's me boosting him up too to say we're trying things differently than before so that we can have a healthier life. I want to run this marathon with you. I don't want this marathon to be cut short because of what we did not choose the best thing for our health and for our body. I was listening to one of these podcasts I listened to this morning, and she said, I think it was Magna. She said, you can move out of your house, you can buy a new car, you can buy a new building for your business, but you cannot buy a new body. That hit me so hard this morning. I was like, you sure right, girl. You can put surgery on it, but it's still yours. Yeah. You can cut, it's still, you can't move out. Your whole being cannot move out your body. Right. Now, y'all people out there doing them weird scientific stuff, that's on y'all.
You said weird scientist. Weird,
whatever you want to call it.
Right?
I am a scientist, but that's it. That's weird. That's not of me. I cannot do it. So,
but it's so cool how what you want, and when I got with Sierra, my wanted became what I needed. The main thing that hit me was when we started our long distance relationship. I was like, that was nice, but I need more of it. I need more of it. And it was like, I remember, and it's so crazy.
When you think back.
How I had to experience it was the distance. How I had to experience it was trying to attempt to date other females. And I was like, nah. Like It was cool. This is what I want. Here's what I need. And it's just when you get into that relationship and your wants becomes needs, necessities to get you through your day with the backing of God, it takes over.
It has a different definition.
It changes your mindset. It changes your goal and your purpose because your intentions. Mm-hmm. It's almost like, and we were saying earlier about the intentional dating. You go into that with, am I getting exactly what I need out of this relationship that I could either get closer to God
grow as a person, grow
healthier. And that's what happened with Sierra when we got that long distance relationship. And I remember it was on, I think it was a Saturday. We were using technology. We had I had my
the messenger.
I moved my webcam. I connected to the big screen TV, and I moved my bed into the living room so that we did what we had to do in the long distance relationship.
We really tried.
And I remember just confessing, and that's the first time like I broke out of the shell. Like that's when I knew I was not gonna be the same William anymore. I think I proposed to you like the next year. Like I was already looking for rings. I was done. Like I can't do this no more. Like I can't. I wasn't searching for anything, but I found out what I needed. So I just like I couldn't do this life anymore without you. And it was like God's telling me in my ear, confirming everything. Like, yeah. That's what I wanted you to. This is what I want you to get all along. Like Sierra was that person that I needed, and I couldn't look back anymore. And I thank God for that.
That's my husband. But I tell people this, and I told William this when we were dating. We've done it while we were dating, but you never realized why I had you doing it. Yeah. I purposely pulled away. Yeah. I purposely said, no, you cannot stay over. I purposely did those things because for me, I had longed and waited for so long to meet a guy that was like you. And I couldn't believe that it was actually true. Right. So for me, in a way, protecting myself, I would push away, or I would say, we need to we're having a lot of fun, but maybe we can slow it down just a little bit, and I tried to pace our relationship because one, I knew I was his first girlfriend. I knew I was his first hug, his first kiss, his first holding hands and swinging, and I knew I was a lot of firsts for him. And so in my way, I had to protect myself and say, let's slow it down a little bit. It is okay, women and men, to slow it down. And while you're slowing it down, talk to God. Yeah. Ask God questions about this person that you desire to be with, because he will confirm if they are the one or if they are not. Right. If you really are trying to see if this is the person God wants you to begin your marriage ministry with. I say it that way because we learned through, what was the name of the thing we did? I forget it. He'll put it sliding somewhere on the screen. People watching the podcast, listen to the podcast, go on YouTube and look at the video. But Family Life. Yeah. And we learned there that marriage is a ministry. And before we had went to this conference, I kept telling myself, I was like, we're like living examples of God in the church, right? We're the marriage. We're I kept telling myself that. And then when I went to this conference, they confirmed it. And I was like, I'm not the only one that's been thinking this. That's why you're not supposed to live a certain way. That's why you're not supposed to act a certain way. That's why when you are present together, you're supposed to show the love that God has given you to people, and in a loving way, because you are an example if you are married under God. And so taking that time to really pace yourself, and I know it's hard, y'all. I know, because when I tell you I wanted William, I wanted him bad,
and I was willing to wait. That's what I'm saying. I was willing to wait at that point.
Yeah, he was. And when I went out to college, when I went to get my master's degree, and I was like, it took all the power out of me to say, nope, you cannot come with me. Nope. Will I just get an apartment? Nope. If we survive this, then I know that we're able to survive if he does decide to want to marry me. And so that was a test to myself, really, of could I do it? And I knew I could because I had dated someone when I was in San Antonio. They were in Houston. So I knew I could do a long distance relationship. Right. But now I really like this guy. Right. I really like this guy. Can I really, 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 really do it?
Yeah.
And the fact that when Will confessed his, his love for me, he's like, I've tried, and he didn't, at the time I didn't know that he was like exploring other girls or like dating. I didn't know none of that actually until we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. And so I knew he was maybe going on like outings with friends, but I didn't know he was actually pursuing, or not pursuing, but trying to see else was out there. And so during that time, I was in school, so I didn't have no time to play around. Like, I was like, I'm in school. It is what it is. And during that time, though, I really did have my time to myself. I would have an apartment by myself. And so I really got to know Sierra and what Sierra did not like to do. Sierra don't care about no dishes left in the sink. Like, I clean them when I get to them. Not saying I had flies and stuff like that. I cleaned it. Don't get me wrong. I cleaned it, but I wasn't a control freak, if you will, of certain things. And I noticed that I could let certain things go. I felt like in college I had to be more of very, very structured. And I learned over time that I could have a little wiggle room. And I had to learn that about myself. The only way I would be able to learn that of myself is by myself. Mm-hmm. And so I applaud all the women and men who are 30 plus or 25 plus who are still single. You have had a lot of time to get to know who you are. And so in that time, I hope that you also got to learn the love of God in that process. Because if you have, then you should be seeking him more about who you should be pursuing as a man or as a woman, and who you should be entertaining. Not, how can I say this? Because I know it's a lot of successful Black women out here, a lot of successful women, period. And some men or women, if you want to go that way, meaning men date, women, are not on the same caliber.
Right.
And so you look for someone who's either on the same caliber or higher. Right? And sometimes that don't be the case.
No, it doesn't.
It's not the case sometimes. As we grow older, y'all probably got 3 baby daddies. Got like 4 or 5 kids. And so, but if you can find someone who sees you, hears you, and takes the time to get to know you with good intentions, and you have actually sought God about this person, on purpose, then hopefully the vision of what your marriage ministry should be as you proceed to try to get married should come more clear.
Right.
Let's go to the word.
Habakkuk 2:3. The vision is for a future time. It describes the end, and it will be fulfilled. If it seems slow in coming, wait patiently, for it will surely take place. It will not be delayed. Yes.
It's interesting, this passage says, wait patiently, for it will surely take place. It will not be delayed. It's kind of like contradictory.
Oh yeah, Bible is full of contradictions.
But the thing is like when it happened and when it's real.
Yeah.
And people who put a timeline on, I gotta know him for 5 years before we get married or anything. Baby, you was hitting 40-something years old. You really gonna? I mean, if you don't know you, maybe that's what it is. You don't know you. Maybe that's what it is. But if you know you know what you're going to entertain and what you're not going to entertain. And all this foolishness that I think people do while they're dating makes it so exhausting and prolongs a lot of things. And they're like, when you know, what's the phrase? When you know you got a good thing, how does it go? When you know you got a good thing, you hop on it, or what's the word?
I guess so. I think that's what it is.
I think so. That's the saying. I think I messed it up. But when you know there's a good thing, and you like, oh, I've been waiting for you. Like me, I've been waiting for you all my life.
Right.
And then it was like, wait a second. I enjoy all of this, but is it really what I want? And is it really what I need?
Yes. And
so if you put that pause on it, take your time and really get to know that person. And if it's that the person that takes 5 years, 10 years, do you safely, safely, stay strong, because y'all trying to hold out till you get married.
So talk, guys. Talk.
Communicate.
Tell people what you want. That I didn't like that, and don't. I think the main thing I want to make sure that even my fellas too, don't sacrifice just because. What's that? The other saying? We're king of saints. The grass is always green on the other side.
Right.
Like, I don't want this, but she got a fat booty. Okay, but there's a lot of fat booties out there.
A lot of fat booties
There's
out there.
a lot of them.
It's a lot.
Focus on what I want this. You don't have it. You know, maybe I'm not saying give up. You know, so he's in a relationship, but speak to him like, hey, like I'm kind of a person that likes this, and if they're not rocking with it, you gotta go on. You gotta move on. You can't just focus on the big booty. You know, you gotta do that. So when you communicate, it just makes things so much easier, especially in a marriage. And that's one thing that we felt in our first 5 years was the communication just stopped because we assumed that 20 I know me personally, I assumed 2015 Sierra 2005 Sierra and 2011 Sierra was going to be the same. No. 6 years. No. Like we said in the beginning, your desires change. And there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I know we used to get down like that, but that's not how, you know, we could do it now. Is that something wrong? Can we work it out? Can we compromise? Let's just go back, create that back and forth communication until that want becomes a need.
Another way when you're married to discover if your desires or your love languages, you can put that blip up there, go take the test. Every year or every 6 months if you need to. I hope it's not changing that frequently. But if you need to if you feel like you're changing in the way that you communicate or the way that you love one another, go take the test. I know we've taken the test probably like 3 or 4 times in the past 11 years because our love languages have changed. Right. I know my friends who have kids, your love languages have changed drastically from when you started to when you have kids. Yes. And so that kind of helps. And that's if you want to continue to grow your marriage. We're doing this to make sure people stay married. We're not doing this just to give likes and that's all nice and good. We want you to stay married because we need to see more of that. And God will, let me say it this way. Bringing God into your relationship and allowing him to nurture you individually will nurture your relationship and also your children. And allowing him to love on you and show you things about yourself that he wants you to see will allow you to love a little bit differently. Right. And the way I used to tell myself, you know, the way I love people is it's great. It's the best way to love people. But I've learned over the years that it's not. Like, I am too much. I am too much. I know now that I'm too much. I am too much. And so every person can't take that. Every person does not navigate to that. Am I saying change who I am? No, I'm not saying. But how I love people, when I notice that we don't have the same energy, I have to adjust. I have to accommodate and compromise so that we can be on the same playing field, so that some love can happen. That is what it is. And so, yes, love one another. But also be more cautious of how you treat people and also how you treat your spouse, because we always say, well, he should know by now or she should know by now. We've had a whole lot of those. And the fact that he still doesn't know.
Just tell him.
Shut up.
Just open your mouth and say it. And that's for, if I had a time machine, that's for past William too. Just like you said, that comes with maturity too. Just no more of this like, well, they should know. Well, if I put this in front of you, I see some commercials like they'll put the mop in front of the bed or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Like instead of just saying, hey, clean the kitchen, you go put like the mop in front of the bed or something like. You're just gonna push the mop out of the way.
Keep moving.
Go to the bathroom. Go to the restroom.
Keep moving.
Just open your mouth.
Well, we thank you guys for joining us on this wonderful podcast. I hope you got a lot of we exposed a lot of things about ourselves and we Holy Spirit always moves, but I hope you all have learned something and able to share it with your friends, your family. Please like, comment, subscribe. People from A Pleasant Connection, thank you for joining us on the podcast. And if you want to see the visual, our goofiness, go to YouTube or Facebook and watch the actual podcast on there. So we love you guys. Have a good day, good week. have any questions, please put in the comments. If you have anything that you want us to talk about in this series is going to go for a minute, just FYI, because I think people are asking, y'all should write a book, and I'm like, let's start with this first, so we can help ourselves articulate really what we have learned and what we hope people can also learn to help have better marriages. And so I hope you all have learned a lot, and we love y'all, and we see y'all in the next video. All right, have a good day. Bye.
Heart.